say something to Sewell that convinced him to reclassify and join college ranks a year earlier than he had intended to?
I don't know if it was something in particular that I said. I think that was something that was he was able to do. He had so many high school credits that he was able to be in that class. I think it was just more when we brought him on a visit and showed him how we played. His father was a longtime player in Europe. I think he is a really basketball family. And I think more the style of play and the opportunity to have the ball, make decisions, play, less like a big guy and more like a basketball player. I think that was very appealing to him. I think sometimes the European model, which now that we've gone to professional basketball, it might be a little bit similar here, but the European model is, how quickly can you get to be in the pros, because that's an extra contract. And I think that delaying a year in high school is sometimes a good option, but if you have a good option, then you might not want to delay it another year. And so, we see a lot of that in recruiting. Guys will go back a year, but guys will also accelerate a year because of the opportunity they might have in front of them.
Very engaged. Big guys often aren't. Why is that?
Engaged.
In terms of his relentlessness on the court.
Yeah.
Many big guys are sort of wishy-washy in that area.
Yeah, I think that's something that sets him apart. Is that he plays very hard. He's passionate. He really understands basketball, and he really is driven to be great. And I think that because of the family he grew up in, and he grew up around basketball so much at a really high level, then I think he's been. He's just been exposed to it in a really competitive way. And so I agree. I think that his effort is really high, and I think the sky's the limit.
Hey, can I ask a revenue sharing question, and that is, as we move into this new era, do you see the composition of the A-10 changing in response to that?
Meaning the teams that are in the conference?
Correct. Fewer, more?
Yeah. Boy, John, that's a good question. I have no idea, of course. I would think I think all of this is going to look so different in 5 years. I think while this kind of gets figured out and it's fully professional basketball, there are just going to be a lot of layers and things that get figured out. So I would, I think it's just as believable that the A-10 will be bigger or smaller or absorbed into another league or not exist. I think that, and I think everything's on the table.
What has been the last couple of days been like for the guys off the game against Loyola?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a little familiar, and I thought we did some really good things. Sometimes, I thought we played one of our better games and we're really competitive, and the opponent makes 18 threes, and that's. I think it's the most since I've been here and involved in a game, and that happens sometimes, but I do think that we were good. It was a really good game in terms of at the end of regulation, both teams were scoring. It wasn't just hustle plays or getting stops. It was those things were there, but it was really a team scoring and making basketball plays. So I thought it was a great game. I feel like our guys, you have to try to take good and the bad, and so there was more good than most of our games. I think we've been playing better, but the pain of losing and losing in another game where we actually did a lot of things to win that we haven't been doing is hard. And but these guys have been resilient and they've worked, so hopefully that will show through for us, because we continue to need it.
You mentioned you have that feeling like you've been here before. How do you what do you say differently? How do you prepare or plan differently when like you said, when you've been in this situation before, and now you got another scrappy team that can, pull off a win like Fordham?
Yeah, I think you have to you produce some things differently, but you want to stick to your principles. And so when you're really struggling, that's where the fine line is. Are you in the games because you're sticking to your principles, or if you violated some of your principles, would that get you over the top, or would that make you be worse off. And so since we've had so many of these close games, especially at home, we've had all these very, very close losses. We can find mistakes, of course. You want to try to zoom out a little bit and say, well, is it this lineup? Should we do this differently? You usually come back to, because, since we've been together in May, we've been emphasizing certain things, and we feel like we're getting better at those things. Even though it's been a grind and it's taken us a long time to get here, we're getting better at those things. So hopefully we can continue to improve on those things and tighten up a little bit of the areas where we've been weak, and that can produce some wins. Again, it's produced better basketball and improvement, but it hasn't produced enough wins.
What about the fact that Neskovich did not have a great game, but you had other guys, Wall step up, Tyne at 16. How much of that is a positive that Ducharme may not necessarily have the big game, but we can have maybe 2 or 3 other guys that could do that if necessary?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we need that. Every team needs that. And, Ducharme has been really a tremendous scorer, especially late in the games, second half, late in the games. But we need all hands on deck to do a little bit of everything. And, again, when you're struggling, when it's harder, that seems even more urgent. And that really is what it is for us. So we need those guys to play well. We need the whole team to play well on a given night. And we need to show that we can do that. Because we do feel like it's possible, and this group is committed, but we need to show and prove that we can do that.
What are you expecting tomorrow with Fordham, and how was the guys' response to the last loss?
Yeah. Well, I expect, that they're 2 really good guards, actually smaller guards like us who can really score. They'll change defenses a little bit. They've always played very, very hard. I expect it to be a great game and a huge challenge for us. And I think our response has been positive. We started out the game poorly against Loyola, but after that first 4 minutes, I thought we played really, really well. I thought we played a great end of the first half, a great end of the second half, and as I said, even they made 4 threes in the overtime period, it was still a 1-possession game for most of that overtime period. But some bad fortune finds you when you're struggling, and therefore you have to be even tougher and improve even more to overcome that. And I'm confident that our guys will.
During this tough stretch, have you entered games where there's bad practices, or does it seem like each week you guys are doing well in practice and then you just can't get in the win?
Yeah, we've won a lot of practices. We've actually been good in practice, which is good. I mean, that counts for a lot. It doesn't count for the most important thing, but it is important to practice well and have good habits, and that gives you a chance to overcome a lot of the adversity. But no, this group has been very good. We've had some practices where we've needed more energy, but the guys have been able to address that, and they're very coachable. So everything but the wins in the game, I can't ask for much more. Just need a little more concentration, a little bit more experience, a little bit more investment for us to pull out those wins.
You don't feel like you have to play a perfect game to win?
No, not at all. Not at all. And nor are we capable of playing a perfect game. But no, I don't feel like we have to play a perfect game. But there are just some things that we haven't probably done this year, like, everybody playing well, just well. We shot better recently, but not to the level that we were hoped we would be. So I don't think it has to be perfect, but it has to be a group effort where everybody does well.
What age were you when you came over to the States, and why did you do that?
I was 16. I made the decision at 15, and I did because I always wanted to play college basketball, and I thought it was the best route for me to progress in basketball, being in a boarding school where I have everything around me to be able to work every day. And the best route for me to play professional basketball, hopefully in the NBA and at the highest level possible.
You went to 2 different schools, 2 years, right?
Right.
Where was the first one?
Oh, Western Reserve Academy in Ohio. Yes.
And then Asheville.
Asheville, yes.
And when you were there, you chose to reclassify from class of 24 to class of 23.
Mm-hmm.
How come?
I thought that 1 year, coming into college 1 year earlier, was crucial for my development. When I heard it, I didn't think much of it, but when I heard about it and thought about it, I thought it was going to be something very important. Just coming in and playing against college players and a higher level and working harder. It was really important for me, and it was very intriguing when I heard about it.
Since you've gotten here, what's the thing you've improved on
Definitely my body, because I came in at around 195, 200 pounds, and now I'm between 225 and 230. I've put a lot of work in the weight room with Jay. And overall, just my sense of the game and being calm, and the game has slowed down for me, and I see a lot of things and make better decisions. So those two things for sure.
Big men commonly aren't terribly frisky on the court. You're frisky. Where'd that come from? And where'd you get it?
I honestly don't know. I sometimes joke about it might be my European side, my Greek side. But honestly don't know. It's just who I am. When I see a ball on the ground, I'm diving for it with no regard. And I think it's a positive for the whole team. And it's just something to get me going. I always search for an energy source, and I think that's the best one I can find. So I don't know. It's always there. It's just a part of me. I don't know where it is from.
You mentioned your weight.
Right.
If you could blink and envision where you're going to be in a couple of years, what is your weight as a senior?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Right now, I feel great. I don't want to get too heavy, because I think one of the best advantages that I have at my size is my movement, my speed, and my fluidity. So I don't want to overdo it, but who knows? Hopefully, I still get a little taller, an inch, and then we'll see. But possibly heavier, 240, 245. But as long as I'm still moving at a comfortable speed and weight, that's all I need. That's all I want.
Your dad's in town.
Right.
When did he get here, and how long is he staying?
He got here this past weekend, and they're leaving on Monday morning. So they're about here for a week, him and my sister.
And how long has it been since you've seen your dad?
Since the summer, since about July or August. Yeah, it's been a while, so it's good to see them now.
He was a professional player. Has he noted your progress? What does he comment on when he sees you?
Right. Yeah, he hasn't seen me play live basketball in about 2 or 3 years. One of the first things he said, he was impressed with the pace and the physicality of the game, not only for me but my opponents, and how I stand in the game that he saw. And he's just impressed with how composed I am in the decision making that I make, especially with the pace that the game is played at. He always thinks I get taller whenever he sees me, so he's impressed with how much work I put on my body. Those two things for sure.
Big game on Saturday for you guys to get back after that, a tough one earlier this week. What's been the talk in the locker room amongst the guys about Fordham?
I mean, we thought we played a very good game against Loyola. Obviously, there were some things that didn't go our way, and we just want to piece those good things together and put them all together for 40 minutes against Fordham. They're a scrappy team. They all crash for the rebounds, and that's been something that we got to focus on and got to do better at every time. So, but yeah, just putting everything together, all the good things together, and putting on a good 40 minutes. And if it comes to overtime, that as well.
It seemed like you have embraced your role of being, I guess, the energizer, getting on the floor, grabbing loose balls, providing more energy. Who approached you about maybe that would be your role, your specific duty on this year's team, and how have you embraced it?
I think it was a mixture of myself and my teammates. Just losing a couple games and always wondering what's missing and what can we do. Especially when I wasn't playing as much, I was always thinking that, and the thing I thought about was bringing more energy from scrappy plays like that, and especially in losses and road games where you need an energy source. And I know I have it, as I said before. I know that it's something that I can do and I don't force or think about. So I really focused on, if the opportunity comes, I'll do it and get everyone going.
Been a tough stretch for you guys. Obviously, heartbreaking loss last time out as well. But it doesn't seem like teams quit at all. I mean, you guys have been in every game. You guys fight to the very end. What's that say about y'all's team's mentality? And what do you guys, how are you dealing with, kind of this tough stretch?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. And I'm proud of all of us, all the guys. I'm proud of us for doing that, because I know a lot of teams that go on losing streaks and rough patches, sometimes they just accept, they accept defeat sometimes. So we all love each other in the locker room and on the court, and we all love the game of basketball. And we've said a lot of times, there's no towel to throw. We got to keep going. And the sun is rising. Nobody's waiting for us. Nobody's stopping for us. So we know there's good pieces, and we know we just got to put them together. And we have the opportunity to do it every day, so we're going to do it. And we just want that result to win.